Welcome, I'm Mark Pollock and I will be presenting the following case from the perspective of a sports psychologist. Robert came to engage my services as a sports psychologist as he was looking for ways to improve the performance of the team he coaches. Robert is 38 years old and works for a private school as a coach of their AFL team, as well as teaching year 11 and 12. Robert mentioned he has been under a lot of pressure in his role as coach as the school has a history of success. He also mentioned he was having difficulties with some of his students in class. Another issue he mentioned that he believes is related to the team's performance is that he has been drinking alcohol excessively. Robert also mentioned that he drinks more on days where the team has lost or performed poorly, and he is worried that others around him have noticed. As such, he believes if he can get the team to improve, he believes he will stop drinking excessively. Being a sports psychologist, my focus with Robert is to try and relieve some of the pressure he is feeling with his underperforming team and provide him with some strategies that may improve performance and enjoyment. Robert mentioned a few things that I believe would be prudent to address and will be discussed. While some interventions will help to improve team performance, another aim will be helping Robert to realign his thinking away from winning to other measures of success. During initial discussions, Robert mentioned that his players are often arguing and unsure of what they are meant to be doing during games. There is also some conflict between some of the senior players as to who should be leading. This indicates that the team is lacking structure and particularly cohesion. The other issue of note Robert brought up was that players were appearing flat and uninterested at training and in games, as well as arriving late. When Robert has brought this up with some of the players, they say they aren't sure they really want to play that day and aren't feeling very motivated. Improving the team's motivation would therefore need to be addressed. While low motivation can come from the lack of success, there are ways to improve motivation outside of the direct team performance, which can hopefully be of use. I will now discuss these issues and how they relate to performance, and then provide possible strategies to overcome these performance impediments. Firstly, with the team dynamic and cohesion of the group. The dynamic of a team and how it is made up is important for performance. If members of a group are unsure of their role or disagree with the role they are given, role confusion or role conflict can occur. This results in poor performance or lack of clarity of what players are meant to be doing. This confusion or conflict can be seen by players arguing and not knowing what their role is in the team, as can be seen in Robert's team. Role conflict affects performance and ultimately leads to poor performance. Further, the issue of cohesion in the team is also of concern. Cohesion in a group is the extent to which they work together to achieve team goals and contribute energy to success. Cohesion can lead to better communication in the team, improved individual and group performance, and greater enjoyment overall. Further, improving group cohesion, even on more general or social levels, has been shown to have a moderate to large positive effect on performance. To address the issue of poor cohesion, I would recommend Robert look to implement team building exercises. Finding opportunities for the team to bond as well as specific team building exercises would be recommended. These team building exercises should focus on problem solving and interpersonal interaction. Robert should also consider using this as an opportunity to establish leadership roles in the team and potentially identifying areas of specific conflict he can work with. These exercises might be a separate activity away from the playing arena, perhaps involving other sports or activities, or it may be incorporated as part of training. These exercises should focus on enjoyment and fun as well as success, and should at the beginning be fairly easy to try and build confidence. The benefits of building cohesion and establishing the right group dynamic in the team come not only from the improved performance, but also from increased enjoyment. In poorly performing teams, maintaining interest levels is difficult. Improving players' cohesion will give them a greater sense of team and help them to want to work toward common goals. Limitations of team building can come from the type of activities chosen and the team it is implemented with. Robert will need to make sure that the chosen team building interventions is one that is right for the team and focuses on the areas of improved problem solving and interpersonal relationship building. Straying from this focus will mean the team is not getting the best benefit from the intervention. Resolving the issue of team dynamics is one thing. However, if players are lacking the motivation to commit to the team and try hard, it will not do much good. Motivation is the why of action. It is the factors that explain why someone takes or does not take action. For sport performance, motivation is crucial. Low motivation can lead to poor performance, lack of effort, and early dropout. Warning signs that someone is lacking in motivation can be lack of interest, low drive when playing, and lack of focus, all of which Robert described in his players. The suggested intervention for motivation is group goal setting. In order to improve the motivation of the team, it is recommended that Robert work with players as a group to develop goals that the team believe is achievable as well as challenging. Goal setting in teams has consistently been shown as one of the best interventions to improve motivation and tying with the previous issue, group cohesion. Goal setting for the team, given they are partway through the season, might be aimed at the performance for the remainder of the season. If reaching finals is not possible, it might be simpler, such as winning more than half the games left. In any case, the goals should be established using the SMART principle, that of being specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. These principles have been shown to have good positive effects on goal adherence and therefore motivation. Following these principles will help set goals that will be clear for all to understand, as well as give direction for what is to be achieved. Involving the players in the goal setting will also help give them ownership over the goals and make them much more likely to stick to them. As the season progresses, it may be prudent to reassess goals, for example, if they are looking like they will achieve the goal early. It is also important that the completion of the main or sub-goals should be celebrated and recognised for the success that it is. Having these wins through the season will again help keep players motivated and build the team's cohesion. The benefits of goal setting in the environment described, that of a low-performing team, is that it can help the team to change their focus away from their previous performance. Further, it also gives all players a collective sense of direction and understanding of what they are looking to achieve. Limitations of goal setting will perhaps be more of an issue if players are not actively involved in the goal setting process. If Robert takes too much control and tries to direct the goal to what he believes is possible, it will not be as effective. As mentioned, there may be opportunities to revisit the initial goals down the line and evolve them as time goes on. Extending the goals later on will again add the feeling of achievement to the team and lead to better performance and overall enjoyment. Further limitation may come from not following the SMART principles, something I am happy to consult with Robert further about. Making goals too vague, too easy, or too difficult, or even just not putting a time frame in the goals can all affect its usefulness. For the previously mentioned interventions to be effective, there are a few things to note. To start, having Robert implement such interventions would not only be effective but appropriate. Martin, Karen and Berg note there is little difference between having a sports psychologist or coach implement interventions. This would also allow Robert to have greater ownership and control over the interventions. Coaches have an important role in sports teams. Their behaviour has a major impact on team climate as well as player motivation and satisfaction, something Robert may also want to consider with his excessive drinking. One other thing that Robert will need to be aware of when looking to implement these interventions is the length. Interventions that are implemented for less than 2 weeks are much less likely to show improvement. As such, persistence and patience is required for the interventions to show their full effect. Following up and reassessing goals or continuing to find new team building opportunities will be crucial to see improvement. The focus for Robert should not solely be on the performance of the team. Rather, Robert needs to refocus on enjoyment and finding smaller wins where he can. Celebrating success and working towards collective goals will help to increase performance, but also be something he can take into future seasons and change his focus away from purely team performance. While my role is aiming to improve the team Robert coaches, some of the other issues Robert brought up has raised some concern. As such, I have referred Robert on for further support to my colleagues to address these issues. Firstly, to address his issues with some of his students in the classroom, I have referred him to educational psychologist Angelica Moses.